ready to do a book tag. Are you ready to see a book tag? Because I'm ready to do a book tag. This is going to be a very, very fast tag, hopefully. Let's do this tag. Welcome to Wonderland. It's Ari here. Today I'm doing another tag video for you guys. Today I'm doing the Opposites book tag. Now this is going to be kind of like a fast tag because I have all the books spread out around me on the floor and I have all the questions on my phone. I do not know who originally created the tag, but I did see one of my favorite booktubers do it. I will link the video down below because I cannot remember their name right now. I'm drawing a blank. I really need to wake up. But let's just get into this tag video. So the first question is, the first book in your collection, the last book you bought. Okay, the very first book in my collection, as far as first time ever getting a book ever to start my book collection as a young child, would be My Brother Martin. And I remember that was my first book because it was written by his sister. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is written by his sister, and I actually met her and she signed my book. So that was my first book and also my very first signed book as a young child. But if you want to say the very first book in my young adult collection, that would be The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. And the last book that I bought was Giant Days Volume 2. I bought it from Little Shop of Stories, which is an independent bookstore in my neighborhood. So that is the last book that I bought. All right, the second question, a cheap book and an expensive book. Now, I kind of have like two books for the cheap book answer because any books that I get for free or I won in giveaways or all of my ARCs, free books are the cheapest books you could possibly get. I'm just saying. But as far as with the cheapest books that I've ever paid for, that would be Spellbook of the Lost and Found. This is the paperback UK edition. I paid $8 for it on Book Depository. It's £7.99. Right here, that's what it says. So I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. But this was the cheapest book that I ever bought. And then expensive book. Okay, so expensive book would go, technically, this is not expensive because I got a bunch of other stuff, but basically book subscription box books are kind of expensive because one, they are exclusive cover books. That's awesome. Two, because the book subscription boxes usually come with goodies and stuff, so I guess I'm also paying for the goodies as well. And, you know, the shipping and all that. But basically, book subscription box books are expensive for me, so I don't really get subscription boxes that much anymore. And then also international editions of books, like the UK edition of Stranger Dreamer right here, for example. Those can be a little expensive sometimes because, you know, it's shipping and, you know, it's out of the country. So the currency rate is different. So even though it's something in that country, is really like $12 in my country. So, and I'm from the US. So like, yeah. So that's my answer to that one. And then the next question I have here is a book with a male protagonist and a book with a female protagonist. And I picked the two easiest books I could ever pick for this question. Male protagonist, Simon. Female protagonist, Upside. Written by the same author, same universe, but, you know, male, female, gay, ally. You get the picture. All right, next question is a book you read quickly and a book that took you long to read. For the book I read quickly was 16 Ways to Break a Heart by Lauren Strasnick. I hope you pronounced that right. This is my advanced copy, but even still, the finished copy is pretty thin as well. This took me pretty quick to read because the formatting was kind of different. There's emails, there's text messages in here, DM messages, IM messages, and then there's regular dialogue and stuff like that. So this was a pretty quick read in itself. A book that took me a long time to read, I'm going to go with just the author for this, and that's Laini Taylor Books. Daughter and Smoke and Bone took me a pretty long time to read, longer than it should have. And her other books I propose are going to take even longer because they're super big books. And then even this book is taking me forever to read because I still haven't finished this yet. I started this last year in 2017. When am I going to finish it? I don't know. All right, next question is a pretty cover and an ugly cover. So a pretty cover, I'm going to go with The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton. This is a gorgeous cover. And for ugly cover, no offense to this book or anything like that. And once you hear the title, you're going to hear the irony. But that's Pretty by Justin Sayre. I hope that's how you pronounce this. You can see the irony. But I picked this book because this book is not that entirely pretty to me. To other people, it might be a pretty cover. The cover might have been changed. This is my advanced copy, so I don't really exactly know. These opinions are my own, so I'm going to just say that right now. But it's also a good example of pink because everyone knows that I am not a huge fan of the color pink. But when pink is used well on book covers, I could kind of learn to love it. This, not necessarily, but this, wholeheartedly, yes. Yes. So pretty cover, ugly cover. I am so sorry. So the next question for this is a national book and an international book. Okay, international, I'm just going to go with a book that has like an international cover or something like that, or an international format, because I don't own a lot of international books. I do have a couple of Japanese books, but they don't really count. They're like very thin, and they're for me to learn Japanese, so they don't technically count. But as far as this question goes, I'm going to go with, again, Laini Taylor for this one. Daughter of Smoke and Bone. This is the US cover. The UK cover is very different. And then here's the UK edition of Strange the Dreamer. The US hardback cover. Wow, just wow. Hardback cover is very different from the UK hardback cover. But I did hear that the paperback edition, the US paperback edition, is going to have this cover, and the UK paperback edition is going to have a very different cover from this cover. So count this. And then the next question is turnover. It's a thin book and a thick book. So thin book, I'm going to go with my graphic novels, or specifically Giant Days for this one. It's very thin, does not take you that long to read. And in a thick book, Hunka Burning Love of Children in Blood and Bone. This book is very thick, and then again, this book is very thick. So either one for this question. Next question, a fiction book and a nonfiction book. For my fiction book, I have White Rabbit by Caleb Roark. I hope I say his name correctly, but here's my fiction book. In my nonfiction book, I have Queer There and Everywhere, 23 People Who Changed the World by Sarah Prager. So there you go. For the next question, I have a romantic book and an action book. A lot of books generally that I read, it has romantic, like a subplot of romance or whatever, where, you know, characters fall in love, there's a love triangle, you know, the usual stuff. So it was kind of hard to find a book that didn't have romance in it. So I just went with a book that has really good action scenes, and it's mostly action and magic or whatever, and it just has like a romantic subplot that's not brought up too much, but brought up enough. But for my romantic book, I'm going to go with Alex and Eliza, a love story by Melissa De La Cruz. The sequel to this book, Love and War, actually comes out pretty soon, so I'm excited for it. It's very romantic. Hamilton fans, history buffs, just romantic enthusiasts in general, anyone will love this book. And for my action book, I have Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Basically, most of Leigh Bardugo's books, to be honest. It had to be really honest. And then the last question is a book that made you happy and a book that made you sad. This one is very obvious, but it's also kind of like an author question to me. So a book or author that made me happy: Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, Becky Albertalli. Becky Albertalli books always make me happy. They always make me smile and feel warmth in my heart and hope for the universe and the world, because she's just a sweet person and her writing is super sweet. And everyone knows this is my favorite book of all time. And then a book that made me sad, or author that constantly makes me cry or feel things or punch me in the feels too much to where, I get in touch with my emotions. That is Adam Silvera, all of his books, but specifically History Is All You Left Me. It just, or More Happy Than Not even, but his books always just make me feel some type of way about life and feelings and stuff. And in general, I'm okay. But that was the Opposites book tag. As always, if you haven't done this tag yet, you could say that I tagged you, so I officially tag you. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to get notified when I make or upload new videos, you could subscribe to my channel. I don't know why it's so hard for me to talk every time I film a video. It's kind of weird. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, comment down below. And if you want any information about any of these books, don't be afraid to message me and ask me. You can follow me on all my social medias down below. Thank you guys for watching, and remember to keep calm and keep reading.